Most aircraft follow standard design norms and have a predictable configuration. Then you have other aircrafts, the kind that look more like a product of photoshopping than engineering. Some are simply unique, and others are downright weird. Here, we have made the list of most weird aircrafts ever built. Number 10, Lockheed Martin P-791. The classic airship gets supersized in this strange conglomeration of aircraft engineering. The P-791 is a tri-hull design airship with disc-shaped landing cushions on the bottom. It was developed to run missions as either a heavy-load cargo carrier or an intelligence-gathering vehicle. While the US Army ultimately passed on picking up the P-791, Lockheed Martin is still working with private companies, and you may soon see P-791 flying the skies, carrying both cargo and passengers in remote areas like Alaska. Number 9, H-4 Hercules II. A 200-ton monstrosity. The H-4 Hercules II was nicknamed the Spruce Goose because of its wooden frame, despite the fact that it was mostly made of birch. The heavy transport aircraft is the largest fixed-wing seaplane ever built, and was designed by filmmaker and business magnate Howard Hughes. Only one was ever rebuilt. Today it sits in a museum in Oregon. Number 8, Boeing B-377PG, Super Guppy. Sometimes you have gigantic, awkwardly shaped cargo you need to move across the country, and the big U-Haul just won't do. Luckily, there's a plane for that. The B-377 Pregnant Guppy was a large wide-bodied cargo aircraft, built in the United States and used for ferrying outsized cargo items, most notably NASA's components of the Apollo program. The Pregnant Guppy was the first of the Guppy line of aircraft produced by Aerospace Lines. The design inspired other later designs, such as the jet-powered Airbus Beluga and Boeing Dreamlifter. Number 7, Vought V-173 Flying Pancake. The Vought V-173 Flying Pancake was an American experimental test aircraft, built as part of the Vought XF-5U Flying Flapjack Navy fighter aircraft program, during World War II. The V-173 featured an unorthodox all-wing design consisting of flat, somewhat disc-shaped bodies, serving as the lifting surface. Two piston engines buried in the body drove propellers located on the leading edge at the wingtips. As inexplicably shaped as the V-173 is, Charles Lindbergh once flew it and called the aircraft was surprisingly easy to handle. Number 6, McDonnell XF-85 Goblin. The McDonnell XF-85 Goblin was built soon after World War II, as a so-called parasite fighter, meaning it was built to be deployed from the bomb bay of a larger plane, the B-36. In the December 1948 Pop Mesh, General Hoyt S. Vandenberg outlined how the little plane fit into America's new Air Force. But, in 1949, the US scrapped the Goblin, alongside other parasite fighter projects, and focused instead on developing methods for airborne refueling. Number 5, Scaled Composites, Modeled 281 Proteus. Burt Rutan designed the thin, tandem-wing scaled composites Model 281 Proteus, first flown in the late 1990s, to investigate the use of aircraft as high-altitude telecommunications relays. Thanks to its efficient design, this model was able to fly at 65,000 feet for over 18 hours. However, the rise of unmanned aircraft means that flying a piloted aircraft for this kind of long-endurance missions is just unnecessary. Number 4, Sikorsky X-Wing. The X-Wing was an experimental hybrid helicopter or fixed-wing aircraft developed by helicopter manufacturer, Sikorsky Aircraft. The X-Wing was built to combine the speed and propulsive mechanisms of a jet, with the vertical takeoff abilities of a helicopter. Unfortunately, the program was cancelled in 1988, a long time after and far, far away from the first successful X-Wing. Number 3, NASA AD-1. Wind tunnel experiments and mathematical analysis can only take you so far. Understanding all the dynamics of a jagged object cutting through the atmosphere is a bit like predicting the weather. There are so many variables, you can only extrapolate up to a point. So to figure out how a specific feature, like the shape of a wing, can be affected by the many stresses and conditions the open air will throw at it, researchers sometimes just have to build it, fly it, and find out. One of the oddest examples of this is the NASA AD-1, first built in 1979. The AD-1 showed that the straight and rigid wing of an aircraft could pivot up to 60 degrees during flight without losing stability. Number 2, Kalinin, K-7. The Russian Flying Fortress. The Kalinin K-7 was a heavy experimental aircraft designed and tested in the Soviet Union in the early 1930s. It was of unusual configuration, with twin booms and large underwing pods housing fixed landing gear and machine gun turrets. In the passenger version, seats were arranged inside the 2.3-meter thick wings. The airframe was welded from chromed molybdenum steel. The original design called for 6 engines in the wing leading edge, but when the projected loaded weight was exceeded, 2 more engines were added to the trailing edges of the wing, 1 right and 1 left of the central passenger pod. Number 1, Bartini Birov, VVA-14. Picture a bizarre-looking mashup of airplane, submarine and marine components, and you will begin to understand how the Bartini Birov, VVA-14 arrived at its strange appearance. The VVA-14 was a Soviet Union response to the fear of a US submarine-driven nuclear assault. This craft was intended to be an amphibious vehicle capable of taking off from land or water. In tight places, its vertical takeoff and landing capabilities would prove useful. The Soviets foresaw the VVA-14 gliding low over the ocean surface, conducting high-speed submarine detection missions. If you enjoyed the video, it would be amazing if you like, share and subscribe to the channel.